My
name
is
Nadia Ahmed
Stapleton, and this is Marketplace.
Hey podcasters, welcome to UC3P, a collection of podcasts made by students at the University of Chicago. My name is David Raban, and I'm the publisher of these podcasts. For those of you who've been listening over the past few weeks, you'll know that UC3P has experienced tremendous growth. And because of that growth, we've been excited to bring you many new series, including Thank You for Your Service, Chicagoland, and even our new miniseries, Popcorn Policy. We're excited to announce that this Sunday, we'll be releasing a brand new series, The Walk-Ons. It's a look at sports through the lens of public policy. So on Sunday, make sure you go to iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, or wherever you get podcasts and look up The Walk-Ons. On to today's episode. Again, because of that growth, we're dipping one last time into the podcaster archives. We're bringing you an episode about the United Nations Small Grants Program. It's a really interesting discussion with an intern in that program. Don't worry, starting next week and for the rest of the academic year, UC3P will be back to releasing brand new episodes every Friday. So without further ado, here's Lucía Delgado Sanchez interviewing UN Small Grants intern Rafael Fonseca.
Here it goes. Hello, my name is Lucía Delgado. I'm a student at the Harris School of Public Policy. The interview you're about to hear is a part of the series Harris Summer Adventures, brought to you by the University of Chicago Public Policy Podcast. During my time in Mexico, I got to talk to people working on different disciplines. I want to share a conversation with my friend Rafael Fonseca. Rafa has a master's degree in local development and spent a year in República Dominicana working on local development projects for the Small Grants Program, which is funded by the Global Environmental Facility and executed by the United Nations Development Program. Thank you to Peter Biava for producing our music, David Raban for editing, and Shirin Raban for designing our cover art. I hope you enjoy and thank you for listening.
Qué raro.
Sí, bueno, ¿inglés o español?
Tú decides, yo te sigo.
Okay,
Tú me dices
let's try in English.
Okay.
My English is not very good, but
Okay.
we can practice English too, and we can never show our recording to anyone.
Okay, perfect.
Okay, so I'm with Rafa. We are in Mexico City, in La Roma. We are in the corner of the street Guanajuato and street Jalapa, sitting outside of a barber shop. Say hi, Rafa.
Hi. Whoever listens to this.
Okay, so we are going to talk with Rafa about his former job. He worked in República Dominicana in a project with the United Nations. So we basically are going to figure out what he was doing there. So when did you start working there, Rafa?
I went there last August. I went there as an internship for my master's degree, and I was working for the Small Grants Program of the Global Environmental Fund. That it's an agency that's working on a small scale in every country in the developing world, working towards like sustainable development. So every project that they manage has to have the development factor and also the environmental factor. And we were working mainly on micro hydroelectric power systems on the Española Island, and we were working also agroforestry and ecotourism. Basically, that's what we were doing there.
So, what was the project exactly about? Were you finding fund for the hydroelectric project, or what was it about?
Well, the Small Grants Program, how it works, it gives always it's called seed fund. What it makes, you will not fund the whole project. You have to seek like alternative sources of money for your projects. A Small Grants Program, it's called small because they're only small grants, and we didn't work with medium grants or big grants, so our budget was always $50,000 for each project, and the rest of the project needed to be funded with alternative sources. So we were working with international agencies, with local NGOs, with the private sector. So we're basically trying to work like to join forces, public and private sector, towards the objective of giving clean energy to the communities in Dominicana, in Dominican Republic.
Good. And how did the project start? Like, were there from the foundation you were working at, or more from the people?
Well, as I told you, $50,000 comes from the GEF. That's the Global Environmental Fund. That it was created on the Rio conference. The rest of the money, the community, well, they needed to find the sources. We were only like the mediators, and we were giving them obviously like technical assistance in order for them to find the money, the sources. And through all our contacts, we managed to always have enough money to complete every project. Every project cost like more than $1 million, and we basically only gave 50,000. So the rest was the community looked for them in international agencies, local NGOs, private sector, but the first money, it was given to them by us through the SGP, to the Small Grants Program. So basically, each year there's like a call for new projects. So I think it's September, they approve around 20 projects. You make like the budget for the projects, and you make the budget like always knowing that you will have to find more sources of money. So, but it was easy because we were having a lot of connections between all the organizations. So it was always kind of easy to find the money.
The rest of the money?
Yeah.
But great. That's so. Like, for example, in the project you were working at, did you get like to the goal of fundraising?
Yes, always. Always. Yes. Always.
Okay. And how was like the first idea for each project? Like, how the project starts? Like, was it like the government saying we need hydroelectric, or was the organization or people from the community?
No, our main policy was we never looked for any project by our own. We were waiting for the communities to find us. Well, we already have a strong relationship with many communities in the island, so it was easy for one community to learn of what we were doing on the next community. So if a community knew that they have like micro hydroelectric power on the neighborhood, on the neighboring community, they went there and asked who gave them assistance. So then the community went back to us and asked us if we were able to give them the support for their project and their community. So our main policy was we're not going to go never to the communities to like sell them a project, because we were trying to be like non-colonial and like making the communities to empower themselves from the very start of the projects. So if a community didn't look for us, we were not like going through the mountains looking for a community where it was possible to make a project. But it has worked so far this way, because we always have a lot of requests for projects, and currently there are like 14 new developments of micro-hydroelectric systems on the island. So, and the government, well, sometimes we worked along with them. Sometimes they gave part of the money, sometimes they gave like the electrical grid, or sometimes they gave support in finding funds. But we were independent, so we had our own like autonomous, like self-driven policy.
Okay, and can you tell us a bit about how the process on finding like the provider of the service is? Like who's going to build the plant, and
What do you
like
mean, like plant?
yeah, like I mean, once you get the funds for the project, then who makes the project?
The community.
So
We find the money and we give them technical assistance, but we only give them technical assistance. They have to work for the project in order for them to to feel that it's theirs. Because if not, we're making like the same mistakes of the old assistantialist, paternalistic projects. That after the NGO leaves the place, the project fails. So what we were doing is like we only gave them technical assistance. They had to build all the components of the system. They have to look for funds, for funding. They have to learn how to manage their money. They have to learn how to solve their basic technical problems of the systems. So basically, we were only like a support, and we were temporal. Like obviously, if there's any issue with the system, they can go back to us for support, and we're going to give them the support. But the idea is that every project works by their own, always.
Good. And did you find any troubles like with the community getting organized for the project and how they managed inside, I don't know, like some bureaucracy built in their organization, or fights for who would be the leader or something like that?
Yes, mostly. It's not like they were bureaucratic or anything, because most of the communities most of them have a lack of formal organization. They basically organize themselves as like neighborhood committees. Their structure is very simple, so there's no bureaucracy under management. But what we did find was the fight for the leadership sometimes inside the communities. Like sometimes you would find people that were trying to get hold of the projects for themselves or for their political interests. But since they're mostly community projects, it was easy to handle them, because we just have to make like meetings with the community where everybody is present, and simple as that. Everybody tells what they want, what they're willing to do for the project, what they're willing to get from the project, and if there's someone who's trying to get over somebody else, it's going to float on. So sometimes they have a hard time understanding that they have to manage their own project. For example, we had this community that's called Chinguelo. They were, after the project was finished,